The opinions and views expressed in the following program are those of the speakers and the host, and do not necessarily reflect those of Yoakley Scott Corporation and Your Sports Network.
Yeah, I've been closer to Jesus before, so can you help me out? Oh, can you help me out? Am I on my own? Am I on my own? But can you help me out? Am I on my own? Am I on my own? Or can you help me out? Can you help me out? I've been scared to look in my soul. I've been afraid I would follow the road. Yeah, afraid of the things I've been told.
Welcome, everybody, all you listeners and watchers. If you're watching me or listening to me in the background, either way, welcome to a Thursday episode of Running Point on ysnlive.com. As always, brought to you by Greenwood Chevrolet in Austintown. I'm going to do what I always do and put their logo in that top right corner so you know exactly where to go if you are in the market for a new or used vehicle. It is Greenwood Chevrolet in Austintown. They go the extra mile for you, so you don't have to, and we try to do the same here on this show every single day. Got a good show lined up for you today. We're going to recap all the action last night, dive into the brackets, and get you an updated look at the Division 1 and 4 brackets. The district semifinals are set after last night in softball. Also recap the baseball regular season action as well. And then we have an interview today like we try to do every day. We're going to go back to Austintown Fitch for a minute and let you hear from Tina Montgomery from Austintown Fitch. Got another home run last night to bring her to 5 on the season for the Falcons. The sophomore has stepped into the opportunity at third base and played really well for Austintown Fitch in her first varsity year as a sophomore. So we're going to let you hear from her about midway through the show, and then obviously we will also be previewing tonight's action. We have sectional finals in Divisions 2 and 3 to talk about, so we'll look at those and see where we stand with that. And obviously there's still plenty of baseball regular season action as the baseball teams wrap up the last week of the regular season. They dive into tournaments next week. If we get time either today or tomorrow, we are also going to look at the baseball seeds and brackets because that tournament starts next week. So we don't want to look at them on Monday when they start. We want to look at them before Monday. So we are definitely going to make a very conscious effort either today or tomorrow to dive into the seedings and the brackets for baseball, give you a good look at what to expect for next week as well. But first, I want to dive into the recaps of last night, and we're going to start with tournament time. Bring up the brackets for you on your screen so you know where we're looking. This is going to be in the NEDAB database for the OHSA Northeast website. I think it's an easier place to find what brackets you're looking for because you're not looking for, you don't have to remember which one is Northeast 1, which one is Northeast 2 and 3 and 4 and all that, stuff. You just go right to our district and, you click the brackets. So let's start with Northeast 1 in Division 1 and see where the district semifinals have been set. We have Riverside getting the win over Cuyahoga Falls, and their score is 10-0. So Painesville Riverside is in the district semifinal. The other half of the bracket, we saw Walsh end Boardman's season last night, unfortunately by a score of 11-0. And talking to Fred Moots afterwards a little bit, this is one of those days where pitching wasn't there, and it happens in softball. Unfortunately for Boardman, it just happened at the wrong time. It really hadn't happened all season. He said just the locations of the pitches weren't there, and Walsh is a good enough team to really, really take advantage of it. He also singled out the speed of the Warriors and how much trouble that gave the Spartans on defense as well. So 11-0, Walsh gets the win over Boardman, and they will play Riverside in that district semifinal. We'll go to the bottom half just to let you look, even though Boardman was the only YSN team in this bracket, and they are now eliminated. Green gets the win. The 2 seed beats Canton McKinley. Final score there, 17-2. And then we saw Maslin Perry. They got the win a lot closer over Gilmore Academy, 4-1. Gilmore Academy, remember, a very good softball team. They got to the district championship last year in Division III. They lose here in the sectional finals, this in Division I, their first year as a Division I softball team. So this district, which will be held at Mentor, is going to feature Riverside versus Walsh, and then also Green versus Maslin Perry. So that's a Federal League matchup. Then we have Federal League Walsh. It's going to be a lot of Federal League teams in this bracket. In fact, Riverside's the only one on the outside looking in of that Federal League. We'll go back into the next Division I bracket, see how that one turned out last night, and see where the districts are set for that. We'll go to Northeast 2 in Division I. Northeast 2 in Division I. Top of the bracket, we had Fitch get the win 22-5 over Lakeside to advance to the district semifinal. Fitch, congratulations to Juliana Farmer for her first career varsity start and first career varsity win, helping the Falcons get advanced in the tournament. So congratulations to her. You can find a post-game interview with her on ysnlive.com in the game recap. Steve Ward kind of stepped into Ty Bartell's duties and interviewed her after the game. He's coming after your job, Ty. You better be wary. We come to the next game in that bracket. It is Madison getting the win over Uniontown Lake 9-7. That is a pretty good 17-20 matchup. A lot of offense. Madison gets the win. So 17th seeded Madison will play Austintown Fitch on Monday at 4 o'clock at Youngstown State University. We go into the bottom half to see what the other district semifinal looks like. East Lake North, they got the win barely, though, over Glen Oak. 3-2, the final score there. So they'll play in the district semifinal on Monday. And their opponent will be Mentor, who gets the win over Willoughby South. A little bit of an upset as the 16-seeded Mentor beats 10-seeded Willoughby South handedly to 11-0. So it's going to be Mentor and East Lake North in the one semifinal, and then Austintown Fitch will square off against Madison in the other one. 4 o'clock and after at YSU on Monday. The championship game will be on Wednesday, also at Youngstown State University. Start time for that championship game is 5 o'clock. So let's go into the last Division I bracket in the Northeast District. And we look at this one. It is going to be Maslin Jackson who gets the win over Twinsburg. 14-0, the final score there. No problem for the Polar Bears in that one. Right under them, Stowe is able to beat Mayfield 9-1. So Stowe advances, and they will play Maslin Jackson. On the other side, we had Chardon. They got the win. They got the loss. They got beat, upset over Hoover. 10-8. Hoover gets the win over Chardon. Big win there for the Vikings as they try to get back into regionals. They won the region in Youngstown State last year over Fitch. So Hoover's still alive in this district, and they will play Hoban, who got the walk-off victory over Louisville 2-1, and that is kind of returning the favor as Louisville walked off the round before. It's a very good game. Manny Benson hit a solo home run for the only run of the day for Louisville. And then it was Woods that knocked in the game-winning run for Hoban to get them that win. They will play Hoover at 5 o'clock on Monday. This district is going to be held at Maslin. So Maslin, Washington, the former site of, if you guys remember in softball and you are a softball fan of the past, former host of the Division III regional, now hosting the district semi and championships in Division I for Northeast Bracket 3. So that's how Division 1 lines up in the Northeast region. We have all the district semifinals set. It's going to be an exciting time in YSU for Fitch and then in Massillon for Hoban on Monday. Those are the semifinals. And then on Wednesday will be the championship games at both those sites. By the way, the OHSA did release the times and dates for the state and regional games as well. You can find that on the main OHSAA page. This is the district page, so you won't find it here, but the OHSAA website.com. Then find softball there. You'll be able to find the state, regional, and state tournament brackets there with the times and dates for every division. Let's go into Division 4, who also has their district champion semifinals set after last night's sectional championships. We'll go into Northeast 1, and it was Springfield getting the win 9-1 over Newton Falls. They advance into the district semifinals, and let's see who Springfield will play down there at the lower end of their bracket. It is going to be Matthews getting the win over Lordstown 10-4 final score there. So Matthews versus Springfield on Monday at Jackson Milton. That game starting at 4 o'clock, the first semifinal in Jackson Milton. We'll go down to the second half of the bracket. We saw Jackson Milton get upset by East Canton. Final score there was 8-6. Jackson Milton robbed of the ability to go into their host district semifinal as the Blue Jays season ends with an 8-6 loss to East Canton, the 18 seed in Division 4. And if you look at the line of this game, really, Jackson Milton, their free bases that they gave up really hurt. 3 walks, 2 hit by pitch, and then a couple of errors to go along with it. If you're playing anyone that's even competent in the sport of softball, you give them that many free bases, you're going to find yourself in a bad situation. And unfortunately for Jackson Milton, that is what happened last night. Their offense did their job, I think. 6 runs should be more than enough to win a game, but free bases will hurt you, and that's what East Canton took advantage of. Props to the Hornets, though, for getting those timely hits and taking advantage of the free bases that they did get. Bottom of that bracket, we saw McDonald really have to endure a battle from Middlefield Cardinal. The 16-seeded Huskies gave McDonald all they can handle. In fact, McDonald started Gianna Mancini in the circle. They were hoping to get through this game without having to use Bella O'Brien, but I think they realized really quickly, not because Mancini was pitching poorly. She obviously pitched the first 2 innings of the game and didn't give up a run. I think they realized that their offense wasn't where it needed to be, and they thought this might be a pitcher's duel. We better make sure not mess around and get our ace in there. She came in relief and gave up no hits in the 5 innings of relief that she pitched. O'Brien did, and McDonald was able to save for that 2-0 lead and keep it where it was at. So McDonald moves on. They will play East Canton on Monday at 5:30, roughly 5:30. It's the second of the doubleheader. So whenever that first game ends, East Canton and McDonald will play each other. That'll be in Jackson Milton as well. And then the championship game of this district will be on Wednesday. And that first pitch is going to be at 5 o'clock in Jackson Milton. Let's go to the last Northeast bracket in Division 4, the East 2 bracket, Northeast 2. And we see at the top of it, we saw Chalker get the win over St. John. Final score there was 16-0. So Chalker gets the win. They move on to the district semifinals. They will play Southern, who got the win over Maplewood, 11-1. The final score there, 17-7, goes into the district semifinals. They will play Chalker, and this is going to be held at Badger on Monday. So Badger will be the host of this district in Division 4. The bottom half of the bracket, we saw Badger, who got the bye. They lost to Middle Ridge, and Middle Ridge, after having a really close one with Waterloo in the sectional semifinals, ramped it up in the sectional finals. 13-2, Middle Ridge gets the win, and they move on to the district semifinals. And then on the other end of the bracket, bottom of that one, it is going to be Western Reserve getting the win 14-0 over Lowville. Reserve will advance as the 1 seed into the bottom end of the district semifinals and play familiar opponent Middle Ridge, who are conference of foes. Played each other twice this year. Western Reserve got the win in both of those games. They'll play at 5:30 at Badger, and then in game 1 against in Badger, once again, it will be Southern Local versus Shocker in game 1. 4 o'clock and 5:30 are the start time for those games. The championship game for that district will be on Wednesday at 5 o'clock in Badger. So that does it for our tournament recap. We have all the district semifinals set. We know who's playing in divisions 1 and 4. Divisions 2 and 3 sectional finals are going to be being played tonight. So tomorrow we're going to know every district semifinal from division 1 to division 4, with 2 and 3 being taken care of tonight. It's going to be an exciting time. Can't wait to get to it. I got a comment here as we were looking at the brackets. Michael Selly says that he thinks Walsh is probably better than Riverside, even though they are a lower seed. And then Fitch will cruise in this district. No one can challenge them. So he has some thoughts on that Division 1 district for Walsh and Fitch. And yeah, Fitch probably should cruise in the district. When you have such a good season and you're voted the 1 seed, one of the things that happens is a lot of teams kind of swerve away from you, and that makes the other 2 districts pretty dang competitive, but it does make your district kind of scarce of the good teams that wanted to maybe give themselves a quote-unquote better chance to win a district championship, although I think some of those teams could have gone after Fitch if they wanted to and probably given them a quality game. And Walsh is one of those teams. I think Hoover is one of those teams that had the opportunity to go in Fitch's bracket, maybe a rematch of last year's regional championship in a district. They decided not to. And because of all that, you get 2 really compressed and really competitive Division 1 brackets, and then you get one that's competitive in the sense that everyone's fighting to who's going to play Fitch in the championship. And then if things go the way that we think they will, really it's who's going to lose to Fitch in the district championship. But you don't count your eggs before you're hatched in the softball. And to that extent, last night, one of the interesting facts about that Lakeside game, Lakeside actually did give Fitch their biggest deficit of the season. I know it doesn't mean much because Fitch ended up winning 22-5, but Lakeside was, for a very small window of time, up 3-0, which is the largest deficit that Fitch has had faced this season. Canfield led by 2, Champion led by 1. Those are the only other 2 times that Fitch has trailed all year. So even though Lakeside ended up, losing 22-5, they can stake their claim for now to the largest deficit given to Fitch of the season. So that's a small victory for the Dragons there. Let's jump into the baseball and other softball finals. We had regular season games go on last night as well as teams try to kind of get their tournament tune-ups in this week as well. So let's see what happened on those sides. We will start with the first finals that came in. And that was, actually, you know what? We're just going to go and start with East Liverpool falling to Steubenville 24-0. Final score there. We saw East Canton win. Hubbard got the win over Struthers 7-1 in NE 8 play. South Range softball finished off senior night and finished the NE 8 season undefeated. They win 15-2 over Girard. Congratulations to the South Range seniors for finishing their home regular season career with a win. Middle Ridge baseball got the win over Sebring last night, 12-0. So that's a couple of wins in a row for Middle Ridge. Newton Falls, after losing their 5-game winning streak a night before, got right back to winning last night, 10-2 over Camel. Newton Falls gets the win. St. John was immaculate in this game, 22-2. They beat Lordstown, no doubt in that one. Tough luck for the Irish of St. V's as they fall to Hoban 4-1. No luck needed for the Knights. East Liverpool baseball falls in a close one, 2-0 to Buckeye Local. We saw Middle Ridge win the second game of that doubleheader with Sebring 13-0, the final score in Game 2. Poland got the win over Jefferson in baseball last night, 17-0, the final score there. Louisville baseball pounded West Branch 11-1. Big win for the Leopards going forward. Wildcats baseball beat Steubenville 2-1, the final score there for Edison. Southern Local gets the win over Cheney in Game 1 of their doubleheader, 7-0, the final score for that one. Game 2 was 5-4, Southern Local as well. Crestview got the win over Beaver Local baseball, 9-2, the final score for that one. Western Reserve with a high-scoring win, 15-9 over Lowville. Lakeview wins the NE8. Big dog mentality was the caption. They win 4-3 over the Raiders, and they sweep South Range in the season series. And they are your NE8 champions, the Lakeview Bulldogs. Congratulations. We've talked about it a lot on the Diamond Roundup. I think they were under the radar. I think that's a fair assessment. When the season started, I think a lot of people were talking about South Range, Poland, and then a little bit of Hubbard too, because Hubbard was a team that got some pretty big wins last year, didn't get the NE8 championship or wasn't really in the conversation at the end of the season, but did prove last year that they could beat some really good teams, and they were young. They were bringing everybody back. So Hubbard got some chalk too in the NE8, but Lakeview just said, don't forget about us ever. And I got the win last night over South Range. 4-3, the final score. And once again, Lakeview is your 2023 NE8 champions. Congratulations to the Bulldogs for that big achievement. Fitch was able to get revenge on Ursuline as they win 9-5. What a way to make a living. That's a Dolly Parton special on the scoreboard for Fitch. And they avenged the loss earlier to Ursuline. Columbiana baseball pounds the Lisbon 17-0. The final score there in the EOAC. Canfield gets another AAC win. They sweep the Spartans 7-4. The final score there in Boardman. Salem, when they're good, they're good. 11-1, they beat Heartland Christian. The Quakers roll. We saw Canfield softball in a tournament tune-up give up 6 runs in the 6th inning to lose to Talmadge 8-4. The final score there. Springfield baseball beat East Palestine 9-2. Final score. And I believe that was the final score that came through last night. It was indeed. So you can check out all those scores and the recaps and all that fun stuff on ysnlive.com. The score page has all the scores updated. Standings is updated as well. So you can go on there and check out what those results mean for conference standings. And you can also see all the recaps and learn what players stepped up big, what players had big nights, and all that fun stuff on ysnlive.com. Be sure to check it out there. We're going to take a quick break. When we come back, we'll have the interview section of the show. Tina Montgomery from Austintown Fitch is the one we're going to play for you today. We're going to go back to Austintown for a minute and hear from the sophomore that has taken up a step in the varsity level this year for the Falcons. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back on Running Point, brought to you as always by Greenwood Chevrolet in Austintown.
When looking for home design inspiration, don't just be inspired, be Baird inspired. Whether new or remodeling, Baird Brothers has the latest trends like shiplap to refresh your home. Go from inspiration to installation with our wide selection of in-stock American hardwoods. From the rustic charm of antique oak to the warmth of traditional cherry, Baird Brothers has what you need to make your home inspiring. Baird Brothers, our family's heritage, your family's home.
Quality, customer service, and integrity. Those are the 4 words that have driven our success since 1957 at Joe Dickey Electric.
Joe Dickey Electric is one Mahoning Valley landmark business that stays current with the requirements of our customers. Family owned and managed, we are an electrical contractor and energy solutions provider. Every member of our team adds to his or her skill set through ongoing training. Residential, commercial, industrial, automotive, and more. We keep ahead of the needs of our customers with a fleet of more than 50 vehicles and 24/7 emergency service, so you're never left in the dark.
WRS Wealth Advisors, the area's premier wealth and retirement specialists. Located on South Avenue in Boardman.
Your teams work hard and give it all they've got. Well, so does ours, because 21 Sports and YSN give you extra effort when covering local sports. 21 Sports and YSN, winning coverage of our Valley's teams.
Hi, I want to tell you about my Trish Yearwood home collection available at Sheely's Furniture. With 2 locations serving Ohio and Pennsylvania, Sheely's is one of the country's top sellers of my home collection. And the best part? At Sheely's, you never have to wait for a sale. They offer everyday low pricing as well as a price match guarantee, so you can shop the Trish Yearwood home collection with confidence. Come see my collection with something to offer for every room in your home and get it all with free local delivery, only at Sheely's Furniture.
Welcome back to Running Point on ysnlive.com, brought to you, as always, by Greenwood Chevrolet in Austintown. They go the extra mile for you, so you don't have to. We thank them for their constant sponsorship of this show since day one. They've been on board through all the changes, and we can't thank them enough for all they do, not just for Running Point, but for YSN in general. They help us be able to bring everything that we're able to bring to you. So do all of our other sponsors. I think I should be remiss to take the time to say, while I'm talking about our sponsors, if you want to sponsor us throughout the summer and into the fall months, I think it's a great time to start talking about it. It's no better value for your advertisement money than a YSN. We reach 60 school communities. Our views continue to go up, 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 up. We've already broken like the month record. We've gotten close to the year record in the first 3 months of on the first 3 months of 2023, I should say. So yeah, if you want to advertise with YSN, it's simple. Go to ysnlive.com/advertise, and you can find all of the packages there. And that's a good starting point. You can find out how to get in touch with us. Fill out that form, and we'll love to work with you and get involved with you and get your sponsorship up on ysnlive.com. So with that being said, though, this one obviously brought to you by Greenwood Chevrolet in Austintown. So is this interview from Austintown Fitch. Tina Montgomery, the sophomore for the Falcons, stepping into a big role. She knew coming into this summer that she was going to have a chance to step into third base and be a member of this varsity team. Won it really bad, worked her butt off, and now she has it. And she's been doing a great job. 5 home runs, including 1 last night in the tournament game. So it's a great time to talk with her, with Ty Bartell. We had a fun conversation with Tina Montgomery, sophomore from Austintown Fitch. And here it is for you once again, brought to you by Greenwood Chevrolet in Austintown.
Ty Bartell, Anthony Hartwig in with another Fitch Falcon player profile. This time we go to the hot corner with the cleaner, Tina Montgomery. Tina, how we doing today?
Doing good.
Tina, first and foremost, I want to talk about where this softball career began for you, because I always feel like that first chapter is always one of the most important ones. So where did you find yourself finding the love for the sport too? And who was some early on coaches too who kind of guided you to find that love for the sport?
Yeah, so I actually started my softball career in a slow pitch league called ADSL, and my dad was my coach for most of my life to really push me through that. I've only been in fast pitch, I think, for like maybe 3 years now. So I just kind of worked hard to make sure that I blended in with everybody.
What was that transition like 3 years ago when you started fast pitch softball and to all that stuff that comes with it?
Yeah, it was gonna be tough, but I knew that I had to work hard. I joined a travel team that the girls really made me feel comfortable on, and kind of clicked with them, and they made me feel comfortable, and I worked my butt off to really make sure that I looked like I was in it my whole life.
I think the defense that you have at the hot corner earns you the nickname of the cleaner, plus the clutch base hits that you get to clear the bases. But with someone like Sydney in the circle too, those hot corner shots become a little bit extra hot too. How do you prepare for something like that too, dealing with those type of liners and those kind of grounders?
Oh, it's hard to prepare for, because you never really know when it's going to happen. So you kind of have to just stay locked in the whole time and make sure you're always expecting it. Usually I can kind of read when somebody's early on SID, so I can expect a ball to come my way, but it's really just important to stay locked in and not pull my head out.
Now, you talked earlier about working your butt off to kind of get used to fast pitch and get into this sport. This year, in the offseason in the summer, you kind of knew third base was going to be open at the varsity level. I know you won it really bad. what did it feel like to work hard all off season and then be given the green light to be on this varsity team and to be the third baseman for this varsity squad?
Yeah, I just knew that I had to be the player that I knew I could be. I knew we had some good freshmen coming up that were going to go for the spot. So I worked hard, and I love all the girls that came up, and I love working with them still. Just seeing that my potential was finally noticed kind of made me feel better about myself and made me work hard, because it's nice to know that eyes are on you.
What's it like playing for a team that's so supportive of one another, but at the same time are competing with one another for spots too, because the talent pool is so deep?
Yeah, it's great. Like, I feel like I've always been a pretty competitive person. So, seeing the competition with my friends is just something that I love even more, because we get to like mess around and joke with each other, and then at the same time we're like having fun and working hard, like staying focused.
You guys haven't lost yet this season at Fitch. What's it been like navigating this year and trying to keep that chip on your shoulder, that motivation, even with all the success this team has had?
You know, you always have to prepare yourself. Like, that Canfield game was stressful, and getting the first loss is always not going to feel good. But I think right now, like, we're pretty good. We're staying on our hot streak. As long as we keep like staying calm and being us, I think we'll be okay. We can go pretty far.
I think one of the biggest questions a lot of people had about this Fitch team was, with the loss of all the seniors a year ago, how the batting order was going to be. You knew Sid was coming back, but they didn't really know how the batting order was going to be. Did you guys hear any of that offseason noise, and did these younger players take it as a challenge almost going into this season? And do you think it's helped you with success this year?
Oh yeah, I think it's definitely watching like practices and open gyms from day one. Abby Toth really catches your eye. Like, she works her butt off all the time. Kylie Folkwine, she's always working. She's always putting in good work. So it gives like a sense of confidence that everybody else is working just as hard, and like, but also like worry, and like you're just trying to stay calm and just be yourself so you don't get ahead of yourself.
Talking about the softball team, we realize it is a young team. There are a lot of players like you who are either a freshman or new to the varsity level, but there are seniors on the team. So talk about how much the senior leadership and the experienced players have stepped into their roles and showed you guys kind of what the standard of Austin Town Fitch is and helped you guys along.
Oh yeah, our seniors this year, I've known quite a few of them for a long time. Ashley McLean, I've known. Laura, I've known. And Kate and Kenna have always worked so hard to make sure everybody's welcome. Maddie Butis, always bringing energy and making sure we stay calm and are having fun. They really just know how to keep us calm, keep us motivated, and just help us all out.
Multi-talented too, not just on the diamond, but also on the stage as well. I know you're into the choir as well, and you were just on some trips for that. Talk about the time crunch that's like too, and working through a schedule like that, being involved in multiple extracurriculars.
Yeah, I'm actually in the marching band on the drum line, but it's definitely hard, but it's easy to work around with for the most part, like kind of different seasons. Concert season's tough. But just knowing that I'm well driven and like know how to stay motivated and keep working and focus, like set a goal for myself that I know I need to achieve. I'll achieve that step by step and then keep working towards another goal.
All right, you're really good at setting goals. What were some that you set at the beginning of the season? Have you already completed them? If you've set a new set of goals, what are the goals on your list right now?
My goals for this season was to really just become like a single like base hit hitter, because I know like coming from JV up to varsity, you're seeing some different pitching. So it was really just stay calm in there and like at least get like some good hits in there, and it's worked out so far.
You've had some pretty good hits too that have left the yard as well. It's a Fitch team that has a lot of power. What was that feeling like for you, getting your first varsity home run and then the next one and then the next one?
Oh, when I got my first one, I knew I was like, all right, I was like, I can do this. Like, it built a confidence. I was like, I'm going to be successful here. Like, I'm going to build my spot. And just knowing that the girls had my back was just so much better.
How have you handled you talked about in the last answer the elevation in pitching from JV to varsity and the pitching just in your conference alone? Forget about the non-conference schedule you guys put together, but the pitching just in the AAC is good enough. How have you adjusted to the uptick in pitching that you see at the varsity level?
It was definitely a hard adjustment for sure. I knew that I had to not let them get too far ahead of my count and just find my pitch. Obviously, it's kind of hard sometimes. Like, I'm not really exactly where I would like to be at with my pitch selection right now, but that's just something to set another goal towards working at.
Talked about setting goals too, but now that we're through the regular season, just about what's one of the highlights of this season for you that sticks out in your mind?
Oh, honestly, there's just so many good memories. I love being in the dugout with the girls. That's always going to be a core memory for me. But I think the game against Champion with my grand slam, that was probably the best memory so far.
We're talking about a lot of first career home run in the varsity level, first, game at varsity level. Now you're getting ready for the first tournament run at the varsity level as part of this varsity team. How excited are you for that and stepping into tournament play where everything means just a little bit more and the intensity is amped up a little bit?
I'm definitely super excited, but I'm also super nervous. Last year, watching the girls be successful was just, I loved watching that. But knowing that the competitiveness is going to get a little bit stricter, I think I'm really looking forward to that because I like having some pressure on me.
Let's talk about how much the sport of softball means to you too, and just some goals you want for yourself to continue to grow in the sport. And is this a sport you can potentially see yourself trying to continue after your high school career? Is that one of your goals?
Yeah, this sport definitely means a lot to me. Like, I don't know where I would be without it in my life. I think the goal right now is to try and continue after. Not sure where yet. Have to look into that. But I feel like it would be such an accomplishment to say that, like, only starting fast pitch like my 8th grade year and then getting like into college. I feel like that would be just great.
You brought up your dad earlier, and every time we talk to a softball player, we hear great stories about dads that start coaching them, and the dad coach relationship. What's it been like having him along your journey with you, and being able to lean on him for advice and to be able to have him film all your games? Except he tells me that he never films the home runs. That's one of his things. Like he's never got a home run on film. So, but what's it like being on this journey with him, and how much has he helped you?
No, it comes with its pros and cons. Because he can't ever just be a dad and let me talk about the game. He's always got something to say. But it's also nice because I know that like I can go to him with my opinions, and he might feel the same way, he might not. But yeah, he's always just a good shoulder to lean on, and yeah, he never records my at bats. I think it's bad. It's bad luck. I don't let him do it. He jinxed me.
Is there an impactful piece of advice or a motto that you've used along this journey? You talked about all the hard work you've put in to get to this point. Has there always kind of been that quote or that motto or something that you've leaned on?
Honestly, it's a kind of a silly one, but I always use the one, don't let the fear of striking out keep you from playing the game. That's one that like always like I repeat to myself. It's kind of like it's a game. It's a game of failure. This is going to happen. You just have to push through it.
What kind of things do you look forward to in the rest of your career? Obviously, you're just a sophomore. We get 2 more full seasons with you before you even graduate from Fitch, and that's going to bring a lot of stuff for you guys in this young class. What are some things that you're starting to really get excited about as you look towards the future?
Oh, I see a really good future. The freshmen that came up this year are fantastic. We're going to get another good group next year. We're going to have a good, solid team for the next couple of years. And honestly, just seeing how far we can go and like maybe if we won't make it to where we want to, just going even further with it the next year is always just going to be the goal.
You know, I've asked a lot about the advice that's impacted you, but I want you to have the chance to give some advice to maybe some younger players, because I guarantee with your situation being unique as it is too, there's other players that are in 7th and 8th grade, maybe looking at this sport saying, maybe I want to give it a try. What's your advice for them that want to jump into this sport and find the success that you have found?
I will always say do it. It's always going to be hard work to put in, but knowing that it's going to pay off in the end, like knowing that your coaches are watching you and see how much work you're putting in and just that effect that you can have on this team, it's a good feeling, and just being with the team and the environment is just having that good connection on and off the field is just amazing.
You play a lot of softball because when you're done with high school, you go right into summer. So you put a lot of time into this sport. What gives you that drive and motivation to keep doing it and put so much time into it? Probably sacrificing a lot of stuff that the quote unquote normal kids get to do on a summer vacation. You don't get to do because you're working so hard for softball. So what gives you that drive and motivation?
Having people be proud of me, I think, is my number one thing. I like making myself proud too. Like, just honestly seeing like the transfer from private to public just is a great feeling that shows up.
You talk about just the success overall that you've had the chance to experience with this team. When you look at the hard work that you've put into words, the amount of time, the amount of effort, the amount of hours that you put in when people aren't watching too, when there's not those scheduled practices too, how much work goes in when people aren't watching you to be able to be the successful player you are.
I always try to work hard on the off season because I know that it's gonna benefit me from the end. Like, I get tired sometimes, and I really just try to push through it. But I know that this is something I have to do if I want everything to work out for me in the end.
All right, so my last question for you as we gear towards the end of this interview is some off the field stuff. So, what are some of your favorite things to do outside of softball that get your attention and maybe give your mind a little bit of a mental break on those times where you, like you said, you get tired a little bit?
Honestly, just looking for that social interaction with friends is like maybe not people like I see all the time, because like I see a lot of the softball girls all the time, and I've made some pretty good bonds from that team. But seeing like other people that I've become really close with just gives me a good like relaxing time.
Who's the role model in the softball world that you've looked up to, and who's the real life hero then?
Um, Honestly, for on the high school team, I say I have to look up to Kate the most. Kate has such a great attitude, and even if she makes like a mistake, she's always just been there for me. Like, she catches my eye out of everything that goes on that team.
What about a real life hero outside of softball that you kind of look up to? Maybe a role model, inspiration, someone you can go to when you're not having the greatest day.
I feel like my grandma is always there for me. She reminds me that it's just a game, and you're there to have fun, and you're not there to be like competing. Like, obviously you are, but like it's a game that when you go home, the mistakes really won't matter in the end.
All right, Tina, we thank you so much for the time that you take out of your very busy day to join us for this few minutes for this interview, too. We wish you the best of luck in your season, too, and we'll look forward to talking to you again real soon. It's been another edition of Player Profile with the cleaner, Tina Montgomery.
Tina Montgomery joining me and Ty Bartell, and a great conversation with the Austintown Fitch sophomore. Got to know her a little bit more and got to really get a feel for how hard she works and how much she drives at what she wants. She sets goals and then she makes sure that she gets them. That's the one thing I'll say about Tina, man. Working with her in the summer, it was, I want to be on the varsity Fitch team. I want to be on this varsity level. She knew what it would take to get there because she knew what freshmen were coming into the program. And no one works harder, and no one works harder than Tina, and that whole team has so many great hard workers. I mean, we ooze about the talent that the Fitch has, and obviously they have a lot of talent on that team. But talent can only take you so far, right? I mean, you can only be so good that level, and I think Fitch realizes that really well. They don't just rest on their talent in that softball program, although they have a lot of it. They have a lot of it, and Tina has a lot of it too. But when you rest on your talent, eventually someone is going to outwork you and someone's going to sneak up and beat you. And that's why it hasn't happened to Fitch yet, because they haven't been outworked by anybody. They've been maybe equal. Maybe you could say some teams have worked just as hard and gotten to that point, and then it just comes down to who executes softball better. They've had a couple games like that, but they are never going to, this year at least, I haven't seen them once get beat or even be in a bad situation in a game because they're being outworked. And I highly doubt that'll ever happen through this tournament run. Not saying that they're going to go and win a state championship, but what I am saying is if they lose, it will not be because the other team is outworking them. I guarantee that point. But sometimes, as we know, in softball especially and baseball, work as hard as you want, you're not going to get what you want. The results are not guaranteed, and it's such a fickle monster. You never know how things will shape up. We do have a little bit of time, so what I want to do is I promised the baseball tournament kind of preview, and I don't have time to go through all the brackets, but what I do have time to do, and we'll do the brackets tomorrow. So I think this is a good kind of 1-2 punch. We'll have one today, one tomorrow. Is today we can go into the baseball seeds and see how teams voted in divisions 1 through 4. And so that means as soon as I get it up, I'm going to share that screen again and bring it up on your screen so you can see it. So you don't have to see me fishing for it on your screen. So here's the OHSA Northeast database screen again. Looks exactly the same, except this one's baseball instead of softball. So we'll go into Division 1 East and see how those seeds lined up. The voting results are here on this website as well, so you can see how every team kind of thought, what they thought about the other teams and how they voted them in or out of the district. One seed in Division 1 is Maslin Jackson. Walsh Jesuit gets the 2. Aurora the 3, Chardon the 4, Stowe 5, University School is 6, Hoban is 7, Glen Oak 8, Louisville 9, Washington and Maslin is 10, Roosevelt 11, Fitch is 12, 13 is Hudson. Then you have Riverside at 14, Dover at 15. Scroll down a little bit, and you have Uniontown Lake at 16, Ellet at 17. Nordonia is 18, Green 19, Canton McKinley is 20, Hoover 21, Canton Willoughby South is 22, Mayfield is 23, Solon is 24, Minter 25, Boardman 26, Twinsburg 27, Lakeside 28, Cuyahoga Falls comes in at 29, Maslin Perry is 30. We have Brush at 31, Warren Harding at 32. You have Eastlake North at 33, Euclid at 34, and then rounding it out is Cleveland JFK at 30. Sorry about that. At 35. Dropped the mic. Not really. Not in the cool sense either. So that's 35. 35 teams, and one of the things that you will find out very quickly is even as you see the, let's see, the Willoughby South, let's say the 22 seed, still 9 wins on the season. So just like in softball when we were talking about Division 1, baseball is the same way in the sense where you really can't count any of these teams out, even like a Bournemouth sitting there at 26, 7 wins on the year. And they've proven they can compete with some of the best teams. It's a gauntlet of a Division 1 district because there's so much parity and there's so many teams that can win and proven they can win. I think you can easily see a 20 something team beat someone in the teens or beat a single digit seed, and I wouldn't be surprised at all. Especially when you talk about baseball and you realize that regular season records can be a little bit skewed compared to if your pitching depth isn't the best for the regular season, you still be really good for a tournament time because you play 2 games in a week and then you have off until the next round. So even if you just have 2 pitchers that are really good, maybe your depth isn't that great afterwards, you can still really make a run in the tournament if those 1-2 punches are, top level pitchers, which some of these teams do have. We're going to go from Division 1 into Division 2 and see what their seeds look like. Division 2 East. And you'll scroll down past the voting results and you'll get here. Alliance is the 1 seed. Canfield gets the 2. West Branch 3. Field is 4. Geneva's 5. Ursuline's 6. Hubbard 7. Poland 8. Marlington is 9. Struthers is right in the middle at 10. You have 11 as Edgewood. Streetsboro is 12. Notre Dame Cathedral Latin in DCL is 13. 14 is Howland. 15 is Girard. 16 is Salem. 17 is Madison. 19 is West Geauga. 18 is West Geauga. Niles is 19. Jefferson is 20. And then you have Harvey at 21, Ravenna at 22, Youngstown East at 23, and last but not least, Cheney at 24. So a much smaller pool of teams. One of the things I think, Alliance, just like their softball team having a 7 seed, was a resurgence in the program. Alliance this year really having a great season for their program and earning the 1 seed. And I was really, not having Alliance as a YSN team, not keeping up on them because of that. I was surprised that Alliance was the 1 seed when I saw these results came out. Canfield gets the 2, no shocker there, although I think some people from the outside, if you would have told them at the start of the season that Canfield was going to be the 2 seed, they might look at you a little bit funny because of all the arms that they lost on the mound. But Canfield, they reload instead of rebuild. Gary Niddle is very good at that for sure. So Canfield didn't miss a beat this year, especially on the mound, and they earned their 2 seed. One of the teams that I think is pretty dangerous that isn't one of the top 5 teams, sitting there at 9, is Marlington. I know their best pitcher is out for the tournament with an injury, but still a very good baseball team that they can really do some damage at that 9 spot. So you got to watch out for Marlington and the Dukes. Poland is also a team that I think can do some damage as the 8th seed. They split with South Range, so they've proven that they can beat really good teams. And then Salem. I think Salem you got to watch out for because they do have really good pitching, especially a 1-2 punch. Gavin Wilms right there can really shut down an opponent. So when they have him on the mound, it's going to be hard to beat Salem out of the tournament. So they might not have had the depth all the way through for regular season, but we talked about in Division I, sometimes if you have 2 really good pitchers, you can make a really deep run in the tournament, and Salem definitely has enough to do that. I'll give you one last look at Division II, and then we'll go into the Division III seedings to see what they look like. East D3 right there. Go past the voting results, and the 1 seed in Division III is the NE8 champions, Lakeview. The second place team right behind them in South Range, 1 and 2. That might be interesting to see. Obviously they're going to be 1 and 2, so they're not going to play each other in districts. But, bragging rights, ultimate bragging rights get on the line in tournament time. If, Lakeview doesn't do their job in districts, South Range is going to say, well, congratulations on your NE8 trophy. We got further in the tournament. And that's kind of the big bragging rights if either one of those teams is able to say that about the other. LeBray is 3. Kirtland is 4. You have Garrettsville Garfield with a under the radar very good season at 5. Crestview is 6. Jackson Milton is 7. Perry 8. Mooney is 9. We have Berkshire at 10. Columbiana 11. Champion is 12. 13 you have Cardinal. United is 14. Newton Falls 15. Pymatuning Valley is 16. East Palestine 17. Waterloo is 18. Middle Ridge is 19. We have Brookfield at 20. I don't know why that has wins and losses spelled out instead of just a record. That's weird for Brookfield. And then we have Grand Valley at 21. 22 is Camel. 23 is Southeast. 24 is Conneaut. And then Liberty rounds us out at 25 in the district. Some teams I'd watch out for outside of the top 10 in this one. Cardinal Mooney is always dangerous because of the schedule they play. They're sitting at 9. I think that's a pretty dangerous seed. They can come up against one of those top 5 teams in a district semifinal or something and really throw a monkey wrench into the district. And be careful of Cardinal Mooney. Be careful of Columbiana sitting there at 11. They might feel a little bit disrespected. United has really good pitching as well with Nevin Halen and Trent Newborn. That's a 1-2 punch that could get them pretty far in the tournament. So those are some teams that I'm looking at. Could be pretty dangerous in the middle seeds. Obviously, 1 through 6, very, very good. And I wouldn't be surprised if any one of them make a deep tournament run. Someone else that is hot right now, Newton Falls has won 6 of the last 7. So you always have to be wary of teams that are going into the tournament on a hot streak and finding momentum towards the end of the season. We'll go one more in Division 4 and give you the seedings of that one. Here's how Division 4 seeded out. Number 1 goes to Lake Center Christian. Warren JFK gets the 2. Matthews is the 3. McDonald is 4, Springfield is 5, Heartland Christian is 6, Wellsville 7, St. John is 8, Bristol is 9, Maplewood 10, Western Reserve 11, East Canton 12, Lisbon is 13, Badger is 14, Lowville 15, Southern is 16, Wyndham is 17, St. Thomas Aquinas is 18, 19 is Chalker, Sebring is 20, Lordstown is 21, and then Latonia is 22. Some of the teams that I see that could cause a little bit of damage in the middle of the seating. I think Heartland Christian is pretty good as a 6. They could definitely throw a monkey wrench in the top 3. I think you got to watch out for Western Reserve. They have a really good offense, so they can really hit with the best of them. Scored 15 runs last night, and they have a really good offense, just like their softball teams. You got to watch out for them. And I would say another team to watch out for outside of the top 3 is Springfield. I know they're 5, so they're top 5, so it's kind of a cheap pick. But Springfield, a very talented team with very much of a winning tradition on the baseball side. So I would watch out for Springfield as well. So that Division 4 tournament should be pretty interesting. Tomorrow we'll look at all these brackets, kind of see how they look. But for now, what I want to do is go back to previewing the night that is before we get out of here, because we have about 5 minutes left in this show. So I'm going to preview the night that's on the network tonight and take you from there out of this show. So here's what's going on tonight on ysnlive.com. Make sure to go to ysnlive.com/live to check out our live game page and see what they'll be doing there. For Thursday, May 11th, we are going to have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 baseball games. So it's a big day on the network for baseball as they continue to wrap up their regular season. And we'll start with Scene 1, Cardinal Mooney and Ursuline, Holy War Round 2. Tim Corso will have the call there, 5 o'clock first pitch from Scene Park, Stadium 1 at Bob Scene Park. Carrollton will go to Louisville tonight. Rob Roberts going to be on the call there, 5 o'clock first pitch. Columbiana will be at Wellsville. Joe Eusebio going to be traveling with them for that call. Howland goes to Boardman. Noah Doty going to make the call there. Ian O'Brien goes to Niles as Lordstown comes to town. 5 o'clock first pitch there. Rootstown goes to Waterloo. Ty Bartell going to have the call there for Waterloo baseball. Struthers will be at Canfield, and it'll be Matt Marr on the call there. United goes to Salem. Derek Rhodes on the call. 7 o'clock first pitch. And then we will also have Bristol at St. John. Sam Torres on the call there. A scheduling note, Pymatuning Valley at Jefferson has been canceled, so that game not happening. We will also have Class B baseball on Scene 1 and 3, video only, Scene 1 at 7 and Scene 3 at 5:30. 14U Class B baseball, hard to believe, already underway, and we are not too far away from the 16U and 18U starting as well. Makes you really look forward to the summer ball at Scene Park and how fun that is to cover. One softball game on the network tonight, and it is a big one. MVAC championship on the line. McDonald versus Western Reserve. Winner take all, both with one loss. It's literally an MVAC championship down there at Woodland Park in McDonald. So if you're a softball fan and you don't have a tournament game to go to, then that is the place to be tonight. McDonald hosting Western Reserve. First time they met, it was 2-1. McDonald got the win. So we'll see what happens this time around. Tournament softball that's happening is going to be Divisions 2 and 3 sectional finals. Going to have Alliance at Howland, Berkshire at Champion. Canton South travels to Poland. South Range hosting Crestview. Garfield will be at Pymatuning Valley. Girard goes to Field. NDCL comes to Hubbard. Perry will be at Canfield. That's the tournament game. Edgewood will go to Ridgewood. Will go to Edison. We'll have Rootstown and Brookfield tonight. That's going to be a really good game. I'm excited for that one. Southeast will be at Lakeview. United goes to Columbiana. That's going to be a good one. Third matchup of EOAC teams there in Firestone Park. Ursuline will go to Jefferson, and then West Branch goes to Edgewood. All those games playoff softball. Reminder that YSN's coverage of baseball and softball tournaments will start in the district rounds. So we will start our coverage of tournament softball next week, as all teams will be in district semifinals and championships. That's what tonight looks like. Once again, make sure to go to ysnlive.com/live to check out all the action that we're going to have on the network. And that'll also do it for today's show. Thank you so much for tuning in today. Tomorrow, we're going to be back at it with more Running Point from 1